Barney Monk do it because it is the best beer in the world. I think I might have been a little biased at that point. Then this, you know, I'm involved with Thornapple Area Parks and Recreation, and one of our big things is ball fields. That's what we do. And I'm walking down. This is way up north. This is maybe 30 miles from the bridge, 30 miles south of the bridge. There's this baseball field sitting out there that somebody has mowed. That's home plate sitting there. I'm thinking, what a sport, what a game. That people are way up here. The houses are 7 miles apart. There's this one nice farm that was across the street. It's obviously their land, and somehow they come out and play ball every once in a while and keep that thing manicured. Then I had to take a picture of this for my wife. This is St. Stanislaus, Matthias. I don't remember the name. But it's a beautiful little Catholic church. And I just had to take a picture of it. It's way up north. It's right by that ball field, about, I don't know, 5 miles from that ball field maybe. And it's also where I'm going to go up next spring, because as I was coming through, there was a field of trillium about 2 miles still south of this church. That all the trillium there had died. They were all on their last legs, but you could see that it was an absolute carpet of trillium. And right along the trail for like 2 miles. It was unbelievable. Unfortunately, I was like 2 days late, or a week late, but I'm going back up there to see that again, because that must have been stunning to see those. This is my final campsite. This is at Wilderness State Park, and what you can't see are the gigantic RVs over here that I'm walking into the state park with my tent on the back, and these guys are all in their RVs that are 50 feet long, and you feel like such a pauper, but you also feel a little bit you guys and your gas gustlers. And so I got to sleep on the beach. And you weren't supposed to do that, but I talked them into letting me sleep on the beach because that was my dream. I'm sleeping on the beach at Wilderness State Park, and I slept there and had a great last night's sleep.
No mosquitoes?
No mosquitoes.
Oh.
And I was worried to heck about it because when you come up the trail, you come out before, when you get to Wilderness, you come out to a little spot on the lake. I forget what it's called, but it's very pretty, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just sleep here. But the mosquitoes were horrible. I said, well, it was late, and I knew I had quite a ways to get to the campground. It wasn't as far as I thought it was by the map, but I had a good 7 miles to go yet, and it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm thinking, all right, I guess I'm not going to camp here. I got to make the campground. So I hustled, and if you've ever hiked through Wilderness State Park in mosquito time, it is like, I didn't realize this because I'd been to the campground. It's beautiful. You're right on the shoreline, and it's oh, what a lovely little. But the rest of this Wilderness State Park, you know why somebody gave it away. Because it is a trail through swamp, and I kid you not, as you're walking down this trail, each side is swamp, and it sounds like bzzz. On each side there are billions of mosquitoes. And I could just remember walking just as fast as I could to get to that cave. Not only was I short on time, but I had to get away from these mosquitoes. And I get here, no mosquitoes. It's beautiful. The sun was just setting. Oh, it was perfect. And then this was going through Wilderness. This is what I had to look like. This mosquito netting on my head, sprayed up with. One of my worst fears was running out of my deep 40 or whatever it was. And then come over the hill and I see it. Ah, I can't tell you what positive, great feeling that is, because you don't see the bridge until you're coming over this last hill, and all of a sudden there it is. You know you're close, but that's what I've been waiting for 37 days. And so I touched the bridge with my stick, and I kissed the bridge. And that, I really had to do it. I had to kiss the bridge because I had been dreaming about it for a long time. That's it. The end. Thanks for listening to me, folks. Any questions?
Tom, one of the things in your blog was this woman that you ran into, that you had a picture of her. It looked like she didn't have a pack or anything, and I guess you didn't really embellish on.
Oh, I didn't?
What?
Let me tell you her story. You know that chosen hiker, the woman who just finished the entire trail.
Yeah.
When I met her, on my other thing, I had a nice, too bad I can't show it, a nice picture of her, because we met. Anybody heard? You've heard of Prairieville, right?
Yeah.
But we met in Pleasantville, which is way up north. Little township hall had water. That's where we met, at where they had water, and the vandals broke the handles.
Mm.
So we were sitting commiserating together on the bench at the.
You want to try it and see if it comes out?
I know,
That's fine.
but you know who she is. She's the lady from Lowell. Whose daughter is Becca, and she's been walking this thing. And when she had enough connections that she had people who would drop her off in the morning. She would walk sometimes 30, 35 miles a day, but she wasn't carrying a pack.
Right.
Because the people kept the pack. All she took was water and a little bit of food.
Okay.
And then the people would meet her at the end, bring her back home. She'd sleep at their house. They would feed her dinner. They'd bring her back to the next day. She'd walk another 35 miles. They'd come back and pick her up again and take her back home. So there were she had that section of Michigan where there was enough people that were taking care of her. When she got farther away, she had less and less of that, and in the Upper Peninsula, she was carrying her pack a lot.
Okay.
But there were times when she wasn't carrying a pack. She had shorts and sandals on,
Yeah.
and that's all she was. She was. I caught up to her somehow. I think it was largely because she was not feeling well, and she was moving kind of slowly. There were days she was. I followed her on Facebook, and there were days when she was really sick, and she had been in the hospital the night before.
Yeah.
In Petoskey, and walked out of the hospital without permission. She just got up in the morning and said, people came and picked her up, took her back to the trail, and she started walking again.
She had mono, I guess, for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
She had a lot of things, I think. and she wasn't, she knew enough medical stuff to feel pretty confident that she was going to be okay. And as it turns out, she was.
Yeah.
She did it. But boy, was I worried about her, you know?
Yeah.
But it was neat to spend some time with somebody who's doing that. You think, this is a big deal. I'm going 600 miles, and then you talk to her. And I've got all this stuff. I've got gaiters on. She's got sandals and shorts, and she's just cruising. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a lot of miles, 35, 33.5.
Yep.
How many did you go a day?
I averaged 17.9. I was shooting for 20 a day, but when you set this thing up and you start looking at these maps, you really have to plan it by where can you sleep that night. And there are some days where I could only go 8 miles before I ran out of a place to sleep, and so that was a real short day. But then some days were 24. But fortunately, those days were when I had somebody picking me up, or it was the end of a cycle where the pack was lighter.
So Tom, in your blog, you shared what your perceptions of the trail were for the whole state of Michigan.
In fact,
Can you recall that?
I was published in North Star magazine. I don't know if you guys get it, but this was the July, September, and the whole idea of the article was what would it be like if somebody only knew Michigan from the North Country Scenic Trail? If you knew nothing about Michigan and you just walked that trail, what would you think? Well, you'd think a lot of things, but some of them were, there's no paved roads in this whole state. It's all dirt roads, and the Great Lakes state has no Great Lakes. Every time I got to a large body of water, I could see the other side. Until you get to Lake Superior, I think. And there are only 8 black people that live in Michigan. And 5 of them live in Mackinac City. That's the kind of stuff that you would say if somebody only knew this state. Farms, there's only horse farms above the 45th parallel. Apparently they can only grow grass up there, I don't know. Maybe that's it. And horses are great.
Yeah, you can't grow corn above Caucasus.
That's what it is. Yeah, they got potatoes at Kalkaska and that's it. But I walk by hundreds of horses who just do this. Why would you walk when you could ride, man? That kind of stuff. So thanks for your time, people. This has been a lot of fun.
Oh,
Appreciate it.